a small fast recap from yesterday, what we did together. We have Dr. Nagendra Singh, who is principal, Trinity College, and Karimnagar. He was the first keynote speaker of the day. This was followed by Dr. Preeti Gupta, who is associate professor in zoology at Government College, Kotputli, Rajasthan, India. After that, we had Dr. Satish Sharma, who is associate professor in Subodh College from Jaipur, Rajasthan, India. And we concluded the day by feedback. What is the use of a fine house if we haven't got a tolerable planet to put it on? To me, the lush carpet with fine needles or a spongy grass is more welcome than the most luxurious Persian carpet. The nation that destroys its soil destroys itself. Forests are lungs of our land, purifying the air and refresh and properly. Like music and art, nature is a language that can transcend political and social boundaries. Industrial processes and rising consumption have also led for rapid increase in generation of hazardous waste. These wastes are not only to pose risk and hazard because of their nature, but also have the potential to contaminate large quantities of otherwise non-hazardous waste if allowed to get mixed. It is increasingly recognized that the sound management of chemicals throughout their life cycle, as well as the proper segregation, treatment, and disposal of hazardous waste, are critical to the protection of vulnerable ecosystems, biodiversity, and the livelihood and health communities. To address concerns related to harmful organic chemicals and waste, it is necessary to promote chemical safety and provide ready access to information on toxic chemicals, and also to promote chemical safety by providing technical guidance on regulations that govern the manufacture, use, and disposal of organic chemicals. Although it may be felt that the effect and the activity of organic chemicals in the environment must, by definition, focus on the chemistry of these chemicals, knowledge of the various environmental regulations is always helpful in determining the analysis that must be performed. These laws are designed to help protect human health and environment. The Environmental Protection Agency, EPA, is charged with administering all or a part of each law. So without taking much time, I would like to introduce to you our first keynote speaker of the day. The first keynote speaker of the day is Dr. Nishit Dharia. Dr. Dharia is currently working as an associate professor in the Department of Life Sciences at Hemchandar Acharya North Gujarat University, Gujarat. He has a rich teaching experience of 25 years and a research experience of 30 years. His areas of interest in research include mammalian ecology, wildlife, conservation biology, environmental biology, and education. He has 633 citations. Dr. Dharia, 633 citations with an ACT index of 11, IDEN index of 14. I should run away from here. And RG score of 15.50. Dr. Dharia has completed 10 research projects and currently is working on 2 other. 10 students have been awarded under his guidance and 2 more are currently working under his supervision. He has 8 research papers, 16 popular articles, 8 book chapters at his credit. He has also authored Relentless Assessment Software for IUCN in 2016, contributed in formulating the guidelines on human-peer conflict management for NFC, Government of India, coordinated statewide North Bear population estimated in Gujarat state in May 2016. Organized national level training courses for young researchers and conducted field visit staff training programs in India as well as Bhutan. Dr. Dharia has also contributed in various scientific journals and organizations as a subject editor and a reviewer and a proposer reviewer like Journal of Third, NEXA, International Journal of Diversity and Biodiversity Education, Conservation Science and Practice, Proceedings of Zoological Society, URSS Conservation International, USA International Association for Bear Research and Management. His achievements also include various awards and fellowships, which are Booster Grant Award, Raffords Foundation, the frontline trainer for tiger conservation in all tiger range countries under Smithsonian World Bank Global Tiger Initiative Program. Research grants by IDA in 2009, International Fellowship by IWTO in Japan 2008-2009, International Fellowships by Indo-US Technology Forum, and Young Scientist Award for Best for Presentation by National Society of Environmental Science. Dr. Dharia has also been a member of academic bodies, professional society like co-chair, IUCN SSC Software Expert Team, member State Wildlife Board, Gujarat State, member Executive Council, Gear Foundation, Gujarat. It's Gear Foundation actually. I think I'm right. Gear Foundation, right? Gear Foundation, Government of Gujarat, member Coordinating Committee of IUCN SSC PS Specialist Group, member IUCN IASC Human Bear Conflict Mitigation Expert Team, founder and honorable director of Research WCB Research Foundation, life members Outreach Organization, life member Bird Conservation Society of Gujarat, fellow of Gujarat Science and Academy, member Society of Science and Environment India. Dr. Dharia, आपका बहुत बहुत स्वागत, आपका अभिनंदन. I just want to ask a question कि मुझे पढ़ने में जब इतनी दिक्कत आई है तो करने में कितनी आई होगी? Welcome.
Thank you, Dr. Mamta. And thank you very much for this introduction. I'm really happy to be a part of this very important and very nice international training program, especially for the environment and conservation biology. And it is always good to be part of your events, whether it is online or it is offline. It is always nicely organized. It is always nicely managed, whether it is online or offline. So I really appreciate the efforts made by you and your team at RRC College. I'm really overwhelmed to be a part, and I hope that my today's talk on wetlands and the impact of climate change and toxins on the wetlands would be helpful to the participants. If you allow me, I can share my screen. Thank you. Is my screen visible?
Yes, very much. Yeah.
Okay. So, friends, I'm going to talk about the wetlands, which are known as the indicator of many things. Wetlands are generally understudied in our country. People are going to the wetlands for bird watching. People are going to the wetlands for the picnics. People are going to the wetlands for enrichment and enjoyment. But very few people in our country, very few researchers and scientists in our country, they actually go to the wetland for some research. As we see, wetlands are known as the kidneys of our earth, because everything that we emit, everything that comes from the ground is ultimately goes to the wetland. And that is why these wetlands and conservation of these wetlands are very important. Wetlands are also known as the indicator of climate change. They are also known as the indicator of the toxins that we have in the environment. They are also indicator of many other things or many other changes that are going to happen or that are happening in the environment. So it is very important to study wetlands. People are studying wetlands for very diverse topics and diverse techniques. Some people are studying wetlands for the birds. Some people are studying wetlands for the quality of water. Some people are studying wetlands for the macroinvertebrates, phytes, submerged vegetation, the floating vegetation, and there are many things. So like every field of knowledge, whether it is a social science, whether it is a zoology, botany, environmental science, microbiology, there are scope to study the wetland. And each study that we do on wetlands, that will help the conservation of this very important part of our world. So before we talk about the wetlands, we also need to know dry lands and the other lands that we have on our earth. So like we all know that most of the part of our earth is filled with the water. That water is mainly two types, like it is a fresh water or it may be a marine water. But 53% of the land in our world is the other land. 10% land is a dry subhumid land. 18% land is the semi-arid, like my state of Gujarat, some part of Rajasthan, this is known as a semi-arid area. So 18% land in the entire world is semi-arid. 12% land is the arid land, and 7% land of our world is the hyperland. So rest of the land is now known as a wetland. So 47% of the earth surface is covered with the dry lands, and that is why the wetlands are very important for our existence. Many people have given the definition of wetlands in many ways. According to me, this can be the best definition of the wetlands, which influenced by the saturated by surface or groundwater at frequency and duration, and sufficient support, a prevalence of vegetation typically adapted for life, and in saturated soil condition. So wetlands must have one or more of the following three attributes. These are very important three attributes to the wetland. At least periodically, the land supports mainly hydrophytes. The substrate is mainly undrained hydric, or we can say moist soil, and the substrate of the wetland is saturated with water. So the part of the land which has water during any period of the year, that can be considered as a wetland. Like 6% of the entire world has the freshwater surface, which are the freshwater wetlands, and these 6% of the land, which is the wetland, have the 40% of the world species. And you can just understand that how much they are important. So 40% of the world species are just found in the 6% of the global freshwater wetland, and it has the importance of more than 1 billion people are directly dependent on these wetlands. So according to the Millennium Ecosystem Assessment, the economy of these wetlands, the total estimated value of these wetlands is 14.9, or maybe around 15 trillion US dollar. So this is the 45% of the value of the global ecosystem. And this shows that how wetlands are important for the existence of our life. If I just want to say about my state, this is the map of the Gujarat state, and you can see here the wetlands found in the Gujarat. So we have different kinds of wetlands. We have the longest shoreline in our state. So these are the coastal wetlands. We also have the two runs, deserts, Little Run of Kutch and the Greater Run of Kutch, and that the Little Run of Kutch is also considered as a wetland. And you can see the orange spots around the country, around the state, within the state. These are the orange spots. These orange spots are known as the inland wetlands, which are in the form of lake or marshes. As I say, it is one of the most important ecosystem in the world, and they are being lost and degraded most rapidly. Although they are very important ecosystem in the world, but these are the ecosystem which has most of the threats from the human activity. Again, if I just talk about my state, our state, Gujarat state, we have like 27,000 and odd kilometer square area, which is covered with wetlands. Wetland supports the variety of diversity. It supports the vegetation, flora, fauna, mammals, reptiles, amphibians, as well as the fascinating species of birds. And especially wetlands are known for the migratory birds, because our country, India, or the Western India to South India, this western south part of our country is also known as the migratory flyway for the birds which are coming from the Far East or coming from the Europe and other countries. So these birds migrate to our country, to India, for different purposes like breeding and feeding. There are two different types. But along with these migratory birds, we also have some resident birds which are depending on these wetlands. So you can see how wetlands is becoming the important resource for everything, for everyone, or for every creature of the nature. They are the resource for the small invertebrates or small animals, for birds. They are also resource for the agriculture. They also help to collect the fuel wood, so they are also helping to the local community. So the lands, the wetlands are also feeding many other purposes of our nature. I just show this particular, I'm just showing this particular picture to show you these are the resident birds in our wetlands, which are known as the black-winged stilt. And these black-winged stilts are the indicator of the polluted water. So if your water, if the wetland is polluted or the level of pollution in the wetland is very high, you will see these guys, these birds, very in more number. So when you see more number or more population of black-winged stilt, you just have to imagine that there is some issue, some pollution level is increasing in this wetland. Similarly, this beautiful bird, which is known as the purple swamp hen, and these swamp hens are mostly found in the wetland, which is covered with the wetland vegetation. So the Ipomia and then many other species which are covering the entire wetland. And when you see more such plant species floating on the wetland, you will find this particular bird more, the number more in the wetland. So like these kind of birds, if you know birds, then you can rapidly assess the wetland. You can rapidly see whether the wetland is facing an issue, whether there are any problem with the wetland, whether the level of pollution, quality of water, quality of environment of that wetland is is okay or is having some threats. So it is very important to observe the birds, study the birds, and many other macrofauna and macroinvertebrates in the wetland, which are indicator of the pollution, which are indicator of the toxins, which are indicator of the toxication of the wetland. So I just wanted to show some of the pictures taken by our team during our wetland survey. We are surveying wetlands across the country, and mostly the Ramsar sites of our country that are monitored by our team or our foundation for studying the birds, and birds as an indicator of the climate change, or birds as an indicator of the wetland pollution across the country. So these are some birds that we are considering them as an indicator of the climate change. These are some migratory birds, beautiful migratory birds. You can see the black-headed gull. Again, they are feeding on the fishes here. Northern shoveler, one of the migratory species, but they are always in a huge number. They are coming to our wetlands. Northern pintail coming from the northern hemisphere, and they are also coming in the huge number here in our wetlands. Some more pictures of the northern pintail. You can see here the tail of this bird having a structure like a pin. That is why they are known as the pintail. This is a gray heron, which is resident birds of our wetlands, and these are the again other photos of the pintails, male and female birds of the pintail. This photo shows that how wetland is an important resource for the uh, local community who are depending on the wetlands. So again, some pictures of the birds, bar-headed goose, again coming from the northern Himalaya. These are the photos of the bar-headed goose. Brahmini kite. This kite is known as the predator of the wetlands. They mostly predate on the fishes, small insects, and the small birds around the wetlands. So whenever you see these birds in high number, you can see that this bird have more prey species in the wetland, and wetland is flourishing good. This is the white wagtail. White wagtail is always you can see on the bank of the wetlands, and again it indicates the quality of the wetlands or quality of mud. When you have more pesticides in the coming toward the wetland, these birds will start disappearing. So when you don't see the white wagtail or yellow wagtail or citrine wagtail around your wetland, you can say that there may be pesticide level would be higher. White rumped kingfisher, one of the beautiful birds you always see where there is a water. Again, a picture of grey heron. This is the northern shoveler, as I said, it's a migratory birds coming in a huge number to our wetland. Purple swamp hen, indicator of the vegetation covering the wetland, and this is actually not good. So when you see more number of purple swamp hen, you should imagine that wetland is supposed to have the algal bloom, or the floating vegetation is covering the wetland. So when these floating vegetation covering the wetlands, the sunlight cannot penetrate into the wetland. And that is why the rate of photosynthesis becomes lower inside the wetland. Little cormorant and again purple swamp hen. So after looking to these beautiful birds around in and around the wetlands, and after looking at the beautiful birds, the photos of the beautiful birds, I just wanted to come back on the topic of climate change and the pesticide level to the wetland. So a lot of people across the world, they are worrying about the climate change, and people are also thinking that what happens if the climate will change, and why should we care, because we are on the tropics. Generally people living in the hemisphere, northern hemisphere, towards the pole or the temperate region, they are worrying more about climate change. But climate change is equally affecting to the people who are living in the tropics, like we are living, like India and other countries. They are the tropical countries, and climate change is equally affecting the wetlands and other lands of the tropical country. Everyone knows what climate change is, so I don't want to discuss what is climate change and how it creating the impact on our atmosphere. But yeah, when the level of carbon dioxide, atmospheric carbon dioxide, increases in the environment, it increases the greenhouse effect, and these greenhouse gases trap more solar radiation that will make our earth more and more warmer. And when it becomes more and more warmer, it starts many issues with the different ecosystem, maybe terrestrial ecosystem or the aquatic ecosystem. So when climate change happen, what happens with the water resources? So the quality of water and the quantity of water may change. So in the northern hemisphere, in the temperate region, the water level becomes higher because the ice start melting. But in case of the tropical countries or in the dry areas, when the climate change, when the global temperature is becoming increasing, the quality and quantity of water is decreasing or degrading. It also causes the loss of productivity of the wetland, because wetlands are one of the most productive ecosystems in the world. And when these productivity getting lower, that will happen, that will create the issues with the human life. So this is again the example of one of our study that we have done in the Ramsar site of Gujarat, which is the largest lake, largest marsh of Gujarat, which is called Nal Sarovar. And in Nal Sarovar, you can see the center of the area. This is the Nal Sarovar. This is the lake, which is the marshy land, and which is surrounded by different villages here. So now these villages are again, or this land is given with the different colors, and these different colors shows the elevations actually. So when people are using the farming practices over here in these villages, they are also using the fertilizers and the pesticides, mostly to protect their agriculture crop. So when they use the pesticides goes into the soil of this area, and when the rainfall comes, because this area also receives irregular but high amount of rainfall, and all the rainwater goes towards the Nal Sarovar. So you can see all these water channel. These are water channels are not the permanent water channel, but these water channels are the water channel in the monsoon season. So you can see every water channel leads towards the Nal Sarovar. So this is the area which is declared as a Ramsar site by the Ramsar Commission, and it is a protected bird sanctuary. But the same area is receiving high level of pesticides, high level of chemical toxins inside. So it is very important to aware the people farming over here around this wetland. It is very important to aware them about the impact of pesticides on these wetland, and ultimately to the human life as well as the migratory birds. So this is one of our research project we have done, and have also organized workshops in these clusters of the village. We organized one workshop over here, second over here, and third over here. And during these workshops and awareness campaigns, we invited the farmers from these villages, and we explain them the adverse effect of the fertilizers and chemical pesticides on the ecosystem, their own health, as well as on the birds. And I'm very happy to share with you that we have introduced over here the biopesticides, and the people, most of the people in this area, they are now started using biopesticides. Again, back to the climate change, what happened to these wetland systems when the projected climate changes? So increased carbon dioxide, that increased level of carbon dioxide raise the temperature. Then when the temperature raises, we'll have more rain, less amount of snow, reduced snow peaks because all the snow will melt, reduced water flow in bay and the delta area of the world. And during the summer, reduced water flow that increase the salinity of the particular land, and it rises the sea level. So like once the climate change starts, once the temperatures starts raising, all these impacts start showing their effects. So when carbon dioxide increases, it is good for the C3 plants. Like most wetland plants are the C3 plants, they use C3 photosynthesis, but generally no improvement for the C4 plants. Like the net relative productivity is going to be lost when the carbon dioxide level in the atmosphere is increases. These are the which I have downloaded from different sites to show you that how the temperature regime is increases across the country. And these are the models that prepared by some scientists that shows the level of precipitation, that how precipitation is decreasing in coming years. So like these raising temperature and the less amount of rainfall that have effects on the wetlands. Two type of effects we can classify: the direct and the indirect effects. So direct effects, as I said, the rate of photosynthesis will decreases, rate of respiration will increase for some time, and again they start decreasing. It is also increase in the annual net primary productivity, but as the temperature raises, the productivity starts decreasing. Decrease into the annual net primary productivity, and finally, because of no respiration, you will find the mortality of the wildlife creatures. These are the indirect effect of the temperature, like snow peaks will melt, river flow starts earlier, and the salinity of the area of the land will start increasing. So here there are some examples of the uh, melting of the snow peaks, early flowing of the river because of the climate change, and the increase in the salinity in some of the areas of our world. So this is the projected salinity change, which is very critical, and which is very critical for the states like Gujarat, Rajasthan, Uttar Pradesh, and Maharashtra, because the salinity is increasing. And one of the model which projected by the scientists in the world, it says that the salinity will increase up to 2060 up to the part of the world. So how this salinity increase will affect on our wetlands? So like it shifts the composition of the species, it reduces the entire species richness or the biodiversity of the wetland, and it finally reduces the productivity of the wetlands. So inhibits the organic peat production, and it changes the structure of the soil surrounds the wetlands. So the critical thresholds at low salinity levels will start, and that uh, in turn impact the quality of water, quality of diversity, composition of species and around in and around the wetlands will affect. So again, the sea level will start rising. This is another model which is made by IPCC, and it shows that how the sea level will rise in coming years, and how it will impact on the wetlands as well as the productivity of the wetlands. There are some negative impacts, of course, but there are positive impacts of the climate change on the tidal wetlands, mostly the coastal wetlands, where the CO2 increase will help the plants in the photosynthesis, and increase the temperature will also help the other macroinvertebrates to flourish. But this is for the coastal wetlands. Given environmental change, like if temperature increases, if salinity increases, if Mars substrate or the substrate of the lake accelerate the fails to keep the sea level rise, and the inundation will increases. Temperature, salinity, the and all which strongly influence the major ecosystem process within the wetland. So like the entire cycles, like biogeochemical cycles and the other cycles will be affected. That will affect the decomposition rate, soil organic matter accumulation will becomes higher, the every aspects of nitrogen dynamics will change, and the plant composition will shift. So the seeding establishment and seed bank persistence will also change because of these climate change issues. So what are the impacts of these global warming and climate change happens? Like increase in temperature. So the rainfall will shift from snow to rain. The snow peaks will get lower. It starts the early flowing of the river in the areas of the temperate region, early melt of the spring floods, and finally it goes to the sea. So sea will rise, and that's the carbon dioxide will also increases. So these three things are very important: increase in the temperature, increase the inundation, and increase the estuarine salinity. So that will affect directly to the wetland diversity as well as the quality of the water around the wetland. So these environmental changes affect directly to the wetland vegetation, and when the wetland vegetation change, the organisms or the animals, macro animals, macroinvertebrates as well as birds, they will also, their composition will also change. And these macroinvertebrates are the food of the most of the birds which are coming, which are the migratory birds which are coming from the other parts of the world to our country. And the change, their composition will also shift because of the reduced vegetation or wetland vegetation. So that all in total starts the loss of species, reduction in the annual productivity or net primary productivity, cascading efforts on the linked terrestrial and the aquatic ecosystem. And finally, the wetlands, the level of the sea will rises, and There will be no marshes. Everything becomes blue. There will be no vegetation. There will be nothing around here. So it is very important to conserve the wetlands of our area, local region. So when we start working locally, it will affect, it will show the impact globally. And the wetland conservation is kind of a conservation that even any individual can start with. So let us start the conservation of the wetland. Uh, in near future, like on 2nd February, we'll have the International Day for Wetlands. So at least on that day, we should go and appreciate the wetland, the creatures around, in and around the wetlands. And we can also see or make a list that the important threats to this wetlands, and how we as an individual can reduce these threats on our wetlands. I think that's it, and thank you very much. I would be happy to discuss more things
If any questions, kindly write
and do your suggestions.
institutions. Please meet Dr. Tanya. Yeah. I can see a lot of appreciation for you, Dr. Tanya. So if no more questions, it's time to thank Dr. Thalia for his wonderful elaboration on wetlands, the most proper climate change monitor. And you said that they are kidneys of the earth. The pictures were so beautiful and they are just amazing. And you spoke so well, Dr. Thalia. So from my side, from Internet Principal and from the organizing committee and from the RRC family, I would like to thank you for your time, your deliberation, and it was so amazing. Thank you so much, Dr. Thalia.
Thank you very much. And if you allow me, I can leave because I have another meeting in 5 minutes.
Yeah, sure. Thank you so
Thank
much, Dr. Thalia. Appreciate your time.
Yeah, once again, I thank you, Dr. Hukam Singh, and the entire team of RRC College. And I really congratulate all in the entire team, and especially to Mamta for organizing such a wonderful gathering. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much, Dr. Thalia. And we can do all this thing because people like you are with us. So
Yeah.
thank you so much. And I'm looking for a 1 minute video from your side today.
Sure.
Thank you so much. And now, with a lot of gratitude and respect, I would like to call upon Professor Dr. Hukam Singh ji, the patron and the principal of RRC Alwar, for a few words. Sir, आपका बहुत बहुत स्वागत है, आपका अभिनंदन।
संरक्षण के एक सप्ताह कार्यशाला यज्ञ कार्य में दुनिया के 27 देशों से जुड़े हुए विद्वान परिषद में से प्राचार्य राजनीति और महाविद्यालय परिवार की ओर से आप सभी का धन्यवाद व्यक्त करता हूँ। आज सभी हमारे तीनों स्पीकर सम्माननीय डॉक्टर ऋषि धारिया जी, एसोसिएट प्रोफेसर एचएमपी गुजरात, डॉक्टर जसविंदर कौर, हेड
Department of Environmental Science, Khalsa College, Jalandhar, Punjab. Dr. Marjon P. Anislam, Philippines, or Dr. Krishna Adams, Research Scientist, United States of America. आप सभी के प्रति मैं महाविद्यालय परिवार की ओर से आभार व्यक्त करता हूँ कि आपने अपने कष्ट समय में इस कार्यक्रम मैं अपने उद्बोधन से इससे जुड़े हुए सभी लाभान्वित किया और एक अच्छा एक कार्य किया है। ये हम सबकी ड्यूटी है कि अगर मानवता प्रकृति को बचाना है तो ये कार्य हम सबको अपना दायित्व कर्तव्य समझकर पूरी दुनिया का करना। भारत तो वैसे ही वसुधैव न्यायी है, वसुधैव कुटुंबकम का प्रणेता देश है। और अब वो समय आ गया है इस समस्त दुनिया का सिद्धांत को अपनाना होगा, इसके अनुसार चलना होगा, तभी जाकर सारी सृष्टि, सारी प्रकृति, सारी मानवता, चराचरीय जड़ जगत सुरक्षित रह पाएगा। उन्हें आप सभी के प्रति मैं आभार व्यक्त करता हूँ इस उम्मीद के साथ कि आप इसी प्रकार आपका सहयोग और आशीर्वाद रहेगा। जय जय महाराज।
Thank you so much, sir, for your kind words. Can I have the proper confirmation, sir? Thank you so much. And thank you so much, sir, for your kind words. We appreciate your presence with us a lot. You are the patron and the principal, and without your support, nothing could have happened. We appreciate your devotion and your contribution towards environmental conservation and tree plantation. Thank you so much, sir. So, do we have Dr. Jasmita Kaur? Just kindly check Dr. Jasmita Kaur. JAS. She's here. So, our next keynote speaker is Dr. Jasmita Kaur. Dr. Jasmita Kaur is presently working as a head department of environmental studies, Lailapur Khalsa College, Jalandhar, Punjab, India. Ma'am, आपका बहुत-बहुत स्वागत है, आपका अभिनंदन करते हैं। Ma'am has a teaching experience of 25 years and 10 years of research experience. She has many academic honors and a credit like PG Diploma in Environmental Management by UGC and the innovative program Teaching and Research in Interdisciplinary and Emerging Areas. She got the first prize in National Conference on Biotechnology for Pacifica paper on synthetic seeds. Basically, she is a botanist. And she has done many major and minor projects in different agencies. And she's what more I'm going to talk about her is her keen affection and love toward environmental conservation is what makes us family with us. She has been associated with this for a long time. आपका बहुत-बहुत स्वागत है, आपका अभिनंदन. Now, with a lot of gratitude and respect, I will request Dr. Kaur to kindly start with the deliberation. Ma'am, please start with your deliberation. Thank you so much, ma'am.
Thank you, sir. A very warm greetings to one and all. My screen is visible, Dr. Mamta?
Very
So
much,
very
ma'am.
warm,
We
warm
can hear, we can see your screens as well. Thank you so much, ma'am. We can see everything. Go ahead.
warm greetings to one and all who are directly or indirectly contributing to save the Mother Earth. I'm greatly thankful to the organizers for providing me opportunity to be part of this international short-term training program 5 on production and regulation of chemicals and toxins for the environmental conservation. I salute to the consistent efforts done by Principal Dr. Hukam Singh and Organizing Secretary Dr. Mamta Sharma, Member Rusa RSC Albar, Rajasthan, to save the environment. Actually, I would like to share here, India is basically agriculture-based country. More than 100 million families are dependent on the farming for the living. According to the eminent agricultural scientist Albert Howard, Indian farmers use compost and organic manures, which ensured farming on the same land for more than 2,000 years without drop in the yield, and crops were free from the pests, as per the traditional practices of the agriculture. Am I audible?
Yes.
So traditional agricultural practices, they were much, much better than the modern agriculture. Since the modern agriculture, pest control is practiced mainly by the chemical pesticide.
Sorry to bother you. Ma'am, are you moving your slides?
Yes, yes, sure, I will move the slides.
Okay. Because we cannot see your slides moving here. So,
Is it okay?
yeah, fine, fine. Go ahead, ma'am. Thank you.
So I was just giving the introduction that I would like to deliver this talk, because in the traditional agriculture system, we were having much, much better system, and agriculture could survive for more than 200,000 years. But due to the modern agriculture, the things have become worse due to the excessive use of the chemicals. So that is the reason this short-term training program has been organized to save the environment only, to save the soil resource. So I am mainly focusing to save on the soil resource as per the theme of the short-term training program for the chemical regulations, which is the need of the hour. So what I want to see, that major challenge is how we can increase the production of the food to meet the global world population without damaging the environment. That is the reason this topic has been chosen. That is, we are having very good options like neem, a miraculous tree for chemical regulation and environment conservation. So this is one of the wonderful tree all of you must have seen, that which can contribute a lot to us. Normally, neem, that is scientifically known as Aza directa indica, commonly Indian lilac, synonymous is Melia aza directa. It belongs to family Meliaceae. It is native of Indian subcontinent only, and it is a highly valuable, miraculous, and one of the wonderful trees originated in India. So that is the reason I'm talking and choosing this plant to solve the major problem of the chemical regulations. So neem is a versatile and multi-purpose tree of tropics. It has a place of pride in international scientific research and literature. Due to its excellent scope of commercialization in agriculture, in veterinary, cosmetics, medicinal values, it is gaining attention in the global market also. It received global importance due to its useful secondary metabolites like azadirachtin, which is having pesticidal and anti-cancerous property. In Ayurveda, as Dr. Hukam Singh used to normally say, that we must live with our roots. Neem is considered as Sarv Roga Nivarni. Means it is cure, universal cure for all the problems. So neem improves our immunity, oral health, skin health. It helps in freshening bad breath, treatment of malaria, diabetes, fungal infections, removing dandruffs, and detoxification of bloods. It releases very high amount of oxygen, as is the need of the hour. We want to have good air quality index. We want to be free from the air pollution. So neem trees, they releases high amount of oxygen than other trees, especially during the day. Similarly, it is very good for the soil pollution. It increases water holding capacity and soil fertility. Besides, it also changes acidic soil to the neutral soils. It is an eco-friendly and natural source of phytochemicals and nutrients for the organic farming. That is the reason we are progressing towards the organic farming nowadays. It has a positive impact on the environment. What I mean to say is, for the sustainable agriculture management, it is need of the hour. So variety of neem-based products are available in the market for curing various problems of the skin or the other diseases. Neem-based products are present to cure the health like diabetes or the other problems. So these things are existing, but there is no regulation. That is the reason I would like to focus on neem, which is of great global attention is required. During the present investigation, I am going to choose especially the agriculture sector, which is which can be sustainable due to the dual use of neem as biofertilizer as well as biopesticide. So what I mean to say, all the chemical fertilizers, chemical pesticides, which has caused tremendous loss of the soil health, that could be solved due to the use of neem as a biofertilizer and biopesticide. Single plant can serve both the purposes. Commercialization of neem-based products is the need of the hour. So its products have been found useful as biopesticide, biofertilizer, as well as botanical insecticide for the pest control. Because I would like to give the here solution approach. So one of the major secondary metabolite which is present in the neem, that is azadirachtin. So it is having pesticidal and anti-cancerous properties. It offers potential to control the agricultural pests without serious impact on the environment, soil chemistry, non-target organisms, animal and human health. So similarly, we are having residue of the neem, that is in the form of neem cake. These are the seeds of the neem. When we crush them, we extract the oil, then neem cake is left. It can be used in the form of a fertilizer. It is acting as pest repellent also. It means it can enrich our soil. The results of its usage can be encouraged by employing the tissue culture technology. I will surely discuss in detail tissue culture technology at the end of the talk. Nanotechnology can play a very wonderful role for the commercialization of neem-based products for the agriculture sustainability. So what I mean to say, our major challenge before us in today's date of agriculture is to increase the food production to meet the needs of growing world population without damaging the environment, because environment has to be saved at every cost. But in current agricultural practices, excessive use of the agrochemicals, it has caused sufficient change in the soil chemistry. It has caused great damage to the soil health. And there is development of the resistant pest because of the excessive use of pesticides. And ultimately, it has declined the food production. That is the reason food crisis term came in the India. This food crisis is due to the soil health decline. And now soil has not given the same food production. So we would like to have the solution towards that. So solution is biofertilizers and biopesticides. They can offer a very good alternative to the chemical fertilizers and synthetic pesticides. All of you will agree with me that we have used excessive fertilizers, excessive pesticides, especially the synthetic ones during the modern agriculture. But the natural compounds can replace the agrochemicals for the pest control, especially biologically active secondary metabolites such as alkaloids, phenolics, terpenoids. So this necessitates to review the potential of the neem for the dual use of biofertilizer and biopesticides. The neem oil, which can be easily extracted. So all of you know very well, we can extract the oil from different kinds of seeds like mustard seeds, sunflower seeds. Technology is very much easily available throughout all the parts of the world. Similarly, we can extract the neem oil from the neem seeds, which can be used as a pesticide. So neem cake can be used as a biofertilizer. So commercialization of neem-based products is the need of the hour for sustainable agriculture management. Commercialization can be done only by the chemical regulations only. Here I would like to add this thing that chemical regulation is being done for all the chemical pesticides and chemical fertilizers, but chemical regulations are needed for the biofertilizers and biopesticides for the sustainable agriculture management. Secondly, there is need to encourage the neem cultivation also for the easy availability of neem products for use in agriculture, because conventional multiplication of neem through seeds is limited. Because neem seeds are recalcitrant in nature, they remain viable only for few weeks under normal circumstances. So we have to provide the rapid micropropagation of the neem, and production of the synthetic seeds can be easily done by employing tissue culture technology, and we can easily move towards the path of commercialization of the neem. So why neem should be used as biopesticide? Why neem should be only chosen? Because neem should be used as the biopesticides. It contains at least 100 biologically active compounds, including its major secondary metabolites like triterpenes, also known as lemonites. So neem is our native tree, and azadirachtin is one of the most active and potent compound in the neem, which is effective for 90% pest control. Means we can easily replace the chemical pesticides. Neem is considered a broad spectrum biopesticide, means it can kill variety of insects. It can inhibit the growth of insects. It can restrict the development of the insects. It can inhibit the reproduction of the pest in the juvenile stages or young stages. So azadirachtin is very, very effective component of the neem, which can control the pests to great extent. Other factors that have stimulated the use of neem-based products for the pest control in agriculture are ecological and toxicological aspects. Means neem encourages the sustainability of environment. It has low toxicity to non-target organisms. It kills only the harmful pests, but rest of the organisms are safe. It means small amount of the products, they can provide the effective pest control. Economy can also be saved. So this is a reason neem should be used as biopesticide. But why neem should be used as biofertilizer? Because it is being used since ages in India. Use of neem in agriculture is not a new practice. In traditional farming system, in earlier traditional systems, neem extracts were used for the pest management and to supply the nutrients to the plants also, as given by the various reports of the scientists. Neem has proven use of a fertilizer with organic and inorganic compounds present in the plant material. It improves the quality of the soil. It enhances the quality and quantity of crops also. So neem cake, which is left after the extraction of the oil, can be used very easily biofertilizer. It gives macronutrients essential for the plant growth. And nitrogen is normally one of the main nutrients due to which we use the fertilizer, particularly in the form of urea. And urea is the main source of nitrogen fertilizer only. It is used worldwide to supply the nitrogen demand for the crops. The control urea analysis and nitrification are one of the principal strategies which are employed to avoid the nitrogen losses in the agriculture. And neem plays here a wonderful role. Neem has demonstrated the activity as nitrification inhibitor. It slows down the bacterial activity that is responsible for denitrification. So it decreases the loss of urea from the soil. So neem oil can be very easily used and neem supports its contribution to the organic agricultural production systems that are more sustainable and it do not generate any chemical residues. So in normal crops, when we spray the crop, some of the traces of the chemicals, they are left on the leaves or in the soil, and hence the soil chemistry is altered, or we get the toxic traces. This all can be avoided if we use the neem because it is not generating any chemical residues. So this method helps to maintain the soil productivity for ages and ages. So our soil will remain healthy for millions of years. So that means it will ensure the long production times. So organic agriculture can be viable only if the alternative production methods for the farmers will be provided. But there are numerous challenges to overcome also. So key to success is to open a new approach. So we have to adopt or we have to open the new approaches. In this respect, neem products can effectively contribute to the organic agriculture, being used as organic pesticides as well as soil fertilizers. So in addition, growing concerns about the conventional agriculture and demand for the products that do not generate waste, it also justifies increased adoption of the use of biopesticides. So agriculture, that is organic agriculture, welcome the use of neem as a biofertilizers by the various scientists. So we are having easy availability of neem-based biopesticides as well as biofertilizers in the market, but there is need to regulate them chemically and commercially. So why to commercialize it? Why still in today's date it has not been commercialized? So neem products should be commercialized due to its various benefits. Conventional chemicals which are normally being used, they are highly toxic as compared to the botanical pesticides. What are botanical pesticides? The pesticides or the which are of the botanical origin, means which can be obtained from the plants, which are easily biodegradable. They leave no harmful residue. So as commercial applications, biopesticide can provide these substantial economic benefits. Means there is no need to produce them, there is no need to set up the industries or the plants. So infrastructure requirement can be zero, economic benefit can be there. But as compared to the conventional pesticides, we have to spend a lot of economy for that. So that is the reason neem-based products should be commercialized. Girish and Shankar also support this thing that commercialization of the biopesticides led to publication of numerous scientific research articles in the books that included organization of even international conferences to discuss the benefits of the neem. Many patents related to the neem-based products have been deposited in USA, India, Australia, Japan. But neem-based products are manufactured by crushing the seeds and leaves using various solvents to extract the active ingredients that can be used as biopesticide and biofertilizers. Again, it is supported by the Chaudhary also. So, but there are certain limitations. That is the reason I have chosen this topic here, that there are certain limitations that hinder the commercialization of neem despite its many promising properties. So such uncertainties and impediments must be clarified on such stage to exploit the full potential of neem. So it means there is need to introduce the interest in the industrial sector. One of the major hindrances, neem-based biopesticides and biofertilizers, there is a lack of interest by the industrial sector. We are thinking about short-term gains, not the long-term gain. So short-term gains will cause long-term losses. So industrial sector has to come forward to encourage the biofertilizers and the biopesticides. As in the previous presentation also, Dr. Saab has given the hint regarding the biopesticide to save the wetlands. So it means there should be easy availability of the biopesticides and they should be commercialized. Why they should be commercialized? Because there is a need to introduce these things to the farmer community. So wide publicity of the neem-based products is required in the farming community to achieve real success. Although these products have low stability, we say they don't work for the longer hours and they have slow killing rate in the field conditions, but there is a solution to those problems also. We have worked experimentally. Our team has worked practically in the fields. When we release the neem oil in standing water for the paddy crop, neem oil yields very good results. Paddy of the golden color, free from any fungal spots, that helps the farmer to fetch very good price for the crop. So farmer sector must be encouraged to use the neem oil directly, or it should be coated with urea, which is quite effective to sustain the health of the soil as well as the crop. So what I mean to say, neem coated urea is also available. There is no standard active ingredient in the botanical insecticides, which limits its application in the control of agriculture pests. So that is the reason chemical regulation is required for the neem also. Isolation of azadirachtin and acting compound in the neem has also been standardized. We are having standard procedure for that. So it must be commercialized for the agriculture purposes. So limitations of biofertilizers and biopesticides mainly include short shelf life, means it works for the small periods. They are sensitive to the light, that is photosensitivity. Volatilization process is there. It can be easily overcome using nanotechnology for the commercial scale production, because nanotechnology is there to help us. We can easily cover these hindrances, because neem oil is one of the least toxic botanical pesticide. Least toxic means whatever we are growing, it is going inside our intestine also. We are suffering from number of diseases like cancer or other things, but this is one of the least toxic botanical pesticide to humans, which is easily available in the current market. It can be used as biopesticide. It shows very less toxicity to the useful animals or the organisms in the soil. Means we can save our earthworms also. We can save useful nitrogen fixing bacteria, denitrification bacteria, nitrifying bacteria also in the soil. And that is the reason we should switch over to the biopesticides, and they should be commercialized. And neem oil can be easily extracted from the neem seed by various techniques. Different techniques are available. And technology is easily available throughout the India. So products derived from the neem can contribute to the sustainable development. So sustainable development means we are also using the soil as a resource, but it will remain available for the coming generations also. So that is the reason we want to sustain the soil resource by using this. The solution of pest control problem can also be handled in the agriculture. Due to the compositional complexity, neem-based products can act as anti-feedants also. Means neem-based products that do not allow the pests to eat the leaves or the fruits. It can regulate the growth also. They do not, they act as sterilants too. Means they do not allow the pests to lay the eggs, or they repel the pests or the insects from the crop. So all these products, they benefit from the natural properties of the neem as a powerful insect growth regulator that affects many other organisms such as nematodes and fungi also. Means worms, earthworms, or the other worms which are not useful to the soil, they can also be killed. And many kind of the fungal spores like loose smut of the wheat or the black rust of the wheat, they can also be handled. So neem-based biopesticide effective against the wide spectrum of the insects. Means they can kill variety of the insects. So we are having in market neem oil coated urea for the gardens, biopesticides are there, but there is a need to give regulation at a certain platform to use them in the market. They have to be commercialized. So what to do in future? What should be the trend in future? What we can do now? So biological control is the ultimate action of the natural enemies to check the pest population density to avoid the economic damage to the crops. What I mean to say, we should not kill the insects. Rather, we should keep the population of the pest under control, which cannot cause the economic damage to the crops. On the other hand, synthetic pesticides like DDTs, although DDT was banned, but still we have used it indiscriminately to kill the pests for many years. It has caused loss to the life supporting systems in water, air, as well as the soil. It has to be stopped. Emergence of the concept of integrated pest management system has to be there. So what is the purpose of biological control? We should not remove or kill all the pests. Rather, we should keep them at a reasonable limit, which will not cause any appreciable harm. So reports are available that is leading to this concept. So recent application of plant-based materials, that is botanical pesticides like neem oil, has been increased in the pest control. Although these products are safer for the management of the pest as compared to the synthetic chemicals, but their impact must be evaluated seriously at the national as well as the international scenario. So integrated use of the botanical pesticides associated with the biological control is increasing in the farming and research communities. This approach offers the potential to control the agricultural pest without any serious losses to the human or the animal health also. So that means we can save the human health, human diseases also, as well as the animal health. So biopesticides and biofertilizers must be preferred over the conventional pesticides and the chemical fertilizers. That trend has to be reverted. There is need to change this trend. So over the past decades, there has been a significant increase in the number of publications concerning the use of neem oil to control the agriculture pests by the bakery and co-workers. All those studies have demonstrated beneficial effects of nano-encapsulation of the neem oil. So what is nano-encapsulation? Means we encapsulate the neem oil with certain gelling agents so that there is need to issue the regulations for the use of nanomaterials in agriculture too. So we need the regulations for the nanomaterial use in agriculture too. So there is a need to evaluate the cost and benefits of the nano formulations. Hence, nanotechnology can play a very important role for the commercialization of the neem-based products in agriculture. And mass cultivation can also be handled because we have to provide vast variety of the saplings to the public sector also. So mass cultivation can be easily done through micropropagation using tissue culture. Synthetic seed technology can be adopted to prepare the synthetic seeds by encapsulating the zygotic embryos with different hydrogels to increase the shelf life of the neem seeds. So shelf life problem can be addressed. Encapsulation can be done to do the sustained release of the various products. So nanotechnology role is surely there. So what is role of nanotechnology? Nanotechnology has emerged as a novel tool to address the problem of agriculture sustainability as well as the food security. So encapsulation of various agrochemicals can enhance the efficiency of active ingredients. It can reduce the losses caused by the volatilization or the photodegradation. Keeping in mind the commercialization of the neem-based products for sustainable agriculture, nanotechnology can help in the development of eco-friendly inputs, safety, stability of the active agents for pest control, and it can be easily accepted as the biofertilizer and the biopesticides by the producers also. So nanoparticles can prove an effective means of protecting neem oil against the photodegradation. Photodegradation here means that these neem-based products, they are more sensitive to the light. So we can spray them in the afternoons or in the evenings, and we can coat them with the nanoparticles, and they will be very effective. They can result in prolongation of the effect. Means they can kill the pest for the longer time then. Similarly, sustained release of the active compounds can be achieved as polymers employed are biodegradable. So we can release the active compound for the longer time if there is coating of the any polymer on the neem oil. It can reduce or it can bring the substantial economic benefits also. So economy wise, it can be very effective too. So we can use these products for different cure of the diseases also. Now problem is how to raise so many saplings. That we want to have biopesticides, we want to have biofertilizers, there is need to have the availability of the neem saplings. That can be done through tissue culture very easily. So direct micropropagation of neem can be done using the any part of the plant. We can provide millions of saplings using tissue culture technology on the MS media, that is Murashid and Skoog's media. It can be done under controlled condition in the laboratory. Directly, saplings can be prepared. It is a very good method. Similarly, we can have the callus induction on the MS media and the neem. Means we can have group of cells, which is called tissue, and these callus is uncontrolled group of the cells which can raise plantlets, many millions of saplings of the neem under controlled conditions. Indirect micropropagation of neem can also be done so that we can have the uniform distribution of the secondary metabolite, that is azadirachtin. So that the amount of this azadirachtin can be increased also. So in our experimental trials, we have seen that the saplings raised from the tissue culture method or technique, they have the more uniform or rather increased amount of the azadirachtin. Somatic embryogenesis can be adopted. Somatic embryos can be raised for the uniform production of the secondary metabolites. Germination of various somatic embryos can be done in the in vitro conditions, that is under the controlled conditions. Whatsoever desired product we need, we can achieve. This is one of the wonderful technology, that is synthetic seed production can be done, because neem seeds, they remain viable only for 1 week, or it is having very short life period. So we can prepare the synthetic seeds or the artificial seeds using the gel complexion or dropping procedure. What we do in this method, what we exactly do is we use different gelling agents like sodium alginate, calcium alginate, carrageenan, or different gums, and they are complexed, and these are the small somatic embryos or the seeds which can prolong the shelf life period of the synthetic seeds. So in this way, we can use these synthetic seeds for the throughout the year for growing the saplings of the neem. So here we are having saplings grown from the synthetic seeds, which we can grow, and it can be easily provided to the farming community or the other sectors. Saplings of the neems can be grown in the pots, in greenhouses. They can be easily provided to different parts of the country or the globe. And we can raise millions of plantlets using this technology. Then ultimately they can be grown in the field from the greenhouse. So what I mean to say here, in the end, I would like to conclude only this thing, that neem is only one plant which is acting as biopesticide or the biofertilizer. Besides this, we are having many good medicinal plants like amla, tulsi, beheda, trifula, which can be used for a number of purposes. Our indigenous species can be used for various purposes to handle this crisis of the chemical regulations. So synthetic chemicals has to be left one day, because they are very toxic to the soil. They have made the soil health at the very worst stage. So with these words, I would like to thank the organizers, that we have to ensure that synthetic chemicals has to be stopped, and natural botanical pesticides or the biofertilizers or the biopesticides have to be introduced. With these words, I would like to ensure from the organizers that certain chemical regulations must be introduced for the biopesticides or the biofertilizers also, although we are having very promising effects of the neem, but it should be done. So thank you very much. I hope so we must have gained some information from this little talk. Any queries, any questions, you are welcome.
Right in the chat box. Ma'am, there's a lot of appreciation for you. That presentation is amazing, nice. Actually, it is a wonderful presentation. And neem is something जो हम Indians की life से इतना associated है मैम, पर इतना कुछ उससे हम कर सकते हैं, ले सकते हैं, ये नहीं पता था मैम. Which is so amazing. Like, you made us understand so many things about neem. So,
any question, any query, please?
In the chat box, please. Excellent session, ma'am. Very nice. What is the cost difference between chemical and organic?
It is having no cost. That is the reason I am saying we don't have to build. We don't have to build any factories, any constructions. They are present naturally in our own system itself. There is need to introduce only plants that we are doing daily. So neem should be available throughout the country. Things are lying around us only.
Okay. So it's time to thank Dr. Paul for such a wonderful lecture. And I think it was very interesting and it kept everyone spellbound because need is something which we see and we hear since we are children. So thank you so much, ma'am, for your deliberation, your time, and we appreciate your presence with us. Thank you so much.
So I really congratulate you that you are doing very consistent efforts to save the environment. My special regards for Dr. Hukam Singh, who is a motivational force for us. I'm sure when people like you are together and you are doing wonderful tasks, there is no one who can leave us. We will surely support our life supporting system, that is air, water, and soil. And no one can stop us to save the Mother Earth. I'm very much positive.
Very
Thank you
nice.
so much.
So much. Ma'am, we can do anything because people like you are with us, ma'am. You all are our support system.
We are always standing like pillars with you. Punjabis never step back. Punjabis never step back. They will surely stand by you.
It's very motivating. Thank you so much, ma'am. Thank you so
Okay,
much.
nice meeting. Thank
Same
you.
here. Have a great day. So now we have our third keynote speaker, Dr. Marjon B. Anislake, and he's joining us from Philippines. Dr. Marjon B. Anislake is currently working as an assistant professor at Surigao Norte State University, main IT campus, Surigao del Norte, Philippines. He has delivered talk on international platforms on agroforestry to soil, water conservation, and climate change to agroforestry awareness, and developing key for effective communication. Dr. Anislake has been the recipient of many awards, like Excellent Speaker on Agroforestry to Soil and Water Conservation, Excellent Speaker on Climate Change to Agroforestry Awareness. He's got the award for Excellent Speaker on Developing Keys for Effective Communication and International Outstanding Assistant Professor in 2022. Heartiest congratulations, Dr. Anislake. He has presented 4 papers at international conferences and has 6 national presentations at his credit and has 10 international publications at his credit. We welcome you, Dr. Anislake, and we are very happy to have you with us. And I would request to start with your deliberation, Dr. Anislake.
Thank you so much, ma'am, for your very nice introduction.
आपका स्वागत आपका अभिनंदन.
And this time I have to share my slide.
Please go ahead.
Hello, madam. Have you seen my slide?
Yes, we can see your slides. We can hear you.
Okay, thank you so much. Then I have to start to discuss. Good day to one and all, most especially to Dr. Hukam Singh, patron and principal of RRC Alwar, and to Dr. Mamta Charma, organizing secretary of RRC Alwar, for inviting me to be one of your keynote speakers for this session. This time, before I will discuss my topic, which is entitled Agroforestry Regulates the Chemicals and Toxins in the Farmlands. Let me inform you that I am Marjon Villamor Anislag, Assistant Professor from Surigao del Norte State University of the Philippines. I should choose to discuss this topic because I know that today one of the world's greatest problems is land degradation because of toxic chemicals that contaminated our land surfaces. The contents of this presentation are the introduction focusing on the problems and objectives of agroforestry as a solution to alleviate the toxic chemicals in the ground, conclusion, and recommendation. Today, one of the trending issues is the toxic chemicals contamination of land surfaces due to man's inappropriate activities like mining and excessive application of fertilizers and pesticides, which are the sources of waste, incineration, fossil fuel combustion, soil salinization, and acidification. These activities spread chemicals across the landscape or emit them into the air with later deposition of on land and water surfaces. Having toxic chemicals contaminate our farmlands, which can affect the growth and survival of our staple crops and can also affect the needs of our community and the progress of our economy. So, as one of the concerned individuals with this problem, I just want to encourage ourselves and our government lawmaking bodies to work as one in making a scientific action plan that will be participated by the local communities who are doing those above mentioned activities for their awareness, and in result they will be our partner to solve these problems. The objective of this presentation is to discuss the importance of agroforestry to regulate the chemicals and toxins in the farmlands. Agroforestry is a farming practice where forestry and agricultural farm practice is joined together. Forestry practice is about planting those leguminous tree species and metal-eating tree species in a particular place that is degraded and contaminated with the toxic chemicals caused by mining and excess application of fertilizers and pesticides. Moreover, the agricultural practice where is about to intercrop with the annual crops in between the three crops plantation. Agroforestry has more farm practices, but among them, which are very helpful to restore the degraded soils contaminated with toxic chemicals, are the taungya, alley cropping, combination of plantation and crops, mixed tree gardens, and forest farming. These agroforestry farm practices are the best practice that can absorb the toxic chemicals from the ground. The roots of the planted trees can absorb excess fertilizers that are applied by the farmers, including toxic chemicals. Trees can absorb the toxic chemicals that are contaminated in the soils where they can survive because they can excrete those chemicals in the process of respiration. Moreover, trees are like bigger straws. They can suck up more chemicals that are contaminated in soils and will excrete them through the volatile processes. Other tree species will absorb the toxic chemicals and then will use them to kill the herbivores, while others converting into protein that will be helpful for their growth and survival. As the information of everybody, here in the Philippines, particularly in mining areas, we identified one of the native species here, the locally known as hunok trees, or the scientifically known as Cerianthus grandiflora tree species. We are using these tree species to restore the mined out areas in Hinatuan Island of the Philippines because these tree species able to uptake the nickel and other elements that make the land toxic for planting the staple crops. So that I think this in other places there are also endemic tree species that are capable to absorb those toxic chemicals. So the point of this presentation is that we are going to promote those tree species that are capable to absorb the toxic chemicals in from the ground that make our landscape degraded. So our purpose is to restore our landscapes. So aside from introducing leguminous tree species, I encourage somebody to search the available endemic tree species in your country that are potential or tree species to clean or to absorb the toxic chemicals in the ground. Thus, this presentation concluded that agroforestry is very much important to conserve our environment. The role of the trees is to absorb the volume of toxic chemicals in the ground. Moreover, agroforestry practices can help reduce pesticide drift and offer a strong line of defense against drifting pesticide sprays. Lastly, this presentation is encourage somebody to do agroforestry farm practices in the restoration and conservation of our landscape that now is contaminated by the toxic chemicals. Agroforestry is the best technology to clean the contaminated lands of toxic chemicals. So this time, I encourage you all to please inform our countrymen to please apply and promote agroforestry farming systems to improve the lives and livelihood of the farmers, and most importantly, to conserve our environment. Thank you, and this time, I am open to answer your questions.
Thank you so much, Dr. Anisley. Can I kindly open the chat box, please? There is a question, give the details of the spices.
Hello, Madam.
This is a question for you. Give the details of the spices to be used, Dr. Anisley. There's a question.
Here, as I shared a while ago, if our concern is to restore the mined out areas, we should have to use those leguminous tree species. So like, for example, here in my country, here is Butuan Island of the Philippines, we are using a leguminous tree species that also capable to absorb the heavy metals. So by this time, so as our study is ongoing, we are observed that the NPK after we are planting the nickel eating tree species, likewise leguminous tree species, we are observing that the NPK content of the soil now is increasing. So planting this type of tree species is very helpful to restore, likewise, to restore the mine out soil. So I am hoping and I am suggesting that in other countries, if the concern of the researcher is to restore their lands, better to use the leguminous tree species as intercrop with annual crops or agricultural crops. Thank you, ma'am.
Thank you. There's another question, I think. Can have brick changes? Dr. Anisley, can have brick changes?
Madam?
Yeah.
Pardon, please, ma'am.
There is a question in the chat box for you, Dr. Anastasia, if you can read it out. Can have big changes, the question is. And Dr. Anastasia, people want to have your PPTs. If you publish and share with us, we can share your PPTs with the delegates.
Can can I share again my PPT, madam?
Will you be sharing or not?
Uh, okay, madam. So I can share it again.
Okay. So I would like to thank Dr. Anisley for such a wonderful presentation, and I think it was very interesting, and people were asking questions, so it is very attractive. Thank you, Dr. Anisley, for your time, your presence, and let me thank you that people like you make these conferences and seminars international and useful. Thank you so
Thank you so much, ma'am. Welcome.
much. Thanks a lot.
Thank you.
Our next speaker is Dr. Christina Adams. Christina Adams is a researcher and globally known expert in autism and camels. She's the author of Camel Crazy, A Quest for Miracles in the Mysterious World of Camels, and a true story of autism, early intervention and recovery. She has an MFA and her work has appeared in many publications, including Los Angeles Times, Washington Post, NPR, Open Democracy, and Global Advances in Health and Medicine. She has been featured on US, Indian, Middle Eastern, and European television shows and media. The US Public Library of Science DNA blog, and she has won international awards for her work. She advises scientists, veterinarians, families, farmers, pastoralists, educators, and more. She lives in California and she is more like an environmental celebrity. So we have a recorded video from her. So I would request, this is Dr. Christina Adams. She will be talking in a video. This is right now she's in Arizona and she has shared these pictures of these cacti there. She has sent her good wishes from Arizona. Back. Please.
Greetings to the
Voice
ISTTP
बढ़ाओ.
conference from Christina.
She is a researcher and she's known for her work in autism and use of camel milk in autism to be more specific. And today she was in Arizona, so she was talking about the xerophytic plants, cacti, and everything about Arizona. So with this, we come to the end of the third day of ISTTP-5. I would like to extend my heartfelt thanks to all the speakers who are very learned and knowledgeable scientists of their field and they spare their valuable time to be with us here in this training program, and that is the success of this training program. I would like to tell all the speakers that we, the organizers and all the participants are very, very happy and delighted to have you here with us, and I hope you all had a wonderful time too, like we all had with you. I would like to tell all the participants that feedback link will be circulated tomorrow. I would like to tell everyone that feedback link will be circulated tomorrow in a session which will be happening from 11 to 2. We will circulate the feedback link in that. So I would request everyone to kindly join at 11 a.m. sharp tomorrow and stay with us till 2 p.m. because during that time we are going to circulate the feedback link for ISTTP-5. So now this is Dr. Mamta Sharma, Organizing Secretary of ISTTP-5, along with my patron and principal, Dr. Hukam Singh Ji, Dr. Sudha Sakwal, Associate Professor who is with us right now, my team, Sheetal, Rishi, and Dilip. We are signing off from the campus of Rajashri College, Alwar, and I will see you sharp tomorrow at 11 a.m. Till then, take care. Goodbye, all our wonderful people, beautiful people. Thank you so much. Take care and bye-bye.